Great. So before we step into the today's content, so I want quickly everyone to quickly introduce yourself by stating your name. If you are from IT background, can you tell me how many years of experience and which part of the country or globe you are attending the session? Great. Yeah. Can anyone get started with it?
Okay, I can start. So myself, Rakshana Radhakrishnan.
Mhm.
I have around 7 years of experience in testing, and currently I'm in New Zealand
Mhm.
working as a test specialist.
Great.
And I have experience in both automation and manual. And in
Mhm.
automation, I worked on Selenium and BDD framework. So API testing is new to me. That's why I'm attending this session.
Great.
Yeah, that's it about me. Thank you.
Thank you, Rakshana. Yeah, next please. Next. Could anyone volunteer?
Hi, this is Sushma from Sydney. I have 7 years experience in manual testing. I'm trying to move to automation and API testing. That's why I joined this class.
Great. Great. Who else, guys? Next. Next couple more people are there. We can quickly introduce, then we can jump to the next point.
Rahul, good morning. This is
Yeah.
Lenin from Hyderabad. So I'm
Yeah.
working as RPA manager in one of the MNC. So
Okay.
now I want to learn the automation tools as well. That's the reason I joined.
Your good
Yeah.
name, please.
Lenin.
Lennon.
Yes.
Thanks. I request all of you to rename your Zoom name so that it'll be very clear for me to call you or call you properly.
Sure.
Yeah. Last one more person, guys. Can you quickly introduce yourself?
Hi Rahul, Nandish here. I have around total 6 years of experience in manual and automation.
Great.
Joined here to know about this karate framework in API automation.
Well, okay.
Earlier I was used REST Azure. I was working on REST Azure new to this karate framework. So,
Mm-hmm. So is my screen visible?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Then now the screen is visible to everyone, right? Well, before we jump about what we are covering, what we are doing here and all, so let's discuss some key points about why automation testing is important, why the word automation is buzzing a lot. See, don't say the word that your management is asking you to do, that is why you're doing it. But there's a purpose why automation testing is gaining a lot of importance. Can anyone tell me, since we have less people in the house, you all can participate? Why automation testing is gaining a lot of importance? Don't say that from a management perspective. Say why we require it. Yeah, Nandish, Lenin, Rakshana, Sukhbir. Can anyone tell me why automation testing is gaining a lot of importance?
To reduce the manual effort, Rahul.
Reduce manual effort. Great. How about others? Yeah.
And we can also use it as a regression suite.
Okay. Use it as a regression suite. Great. Yeah, go ahead. If you have any more points, you can go ahead. Clear? Great. So I want everyone to participate. Sushma, mm, Sushma, Lennon, LK. I don't know your name, but it's written as LK. Yeah.
To savings to the client as well.
Savings to the client. Okay. So if you ask me why automation testing is important, one point I would say to reduce the manual effort. Second thing, to reduce the redundant tasks. Got it?
Yep.
So we will reduce the redundant task. We will reduce a lot of time. We will save our time on doing the regular activities. Our time will be mostly spent on creative part of the testing. As manual testers, we can spend our time on doing some creative manual testing. What do you mean by creative manual testing? Instead of doing a smoke test or a regression test on a regular basis, what we can do is we can do our regular testing. We can write more test cases. We can find more scenarios beyond your scope of what we have designed, what we have taught, and all those things. So that is the thing here, guys. Clear? So if you infer from this diagram, what can you understand? So why, like, what is the life of a manual tester versus a person who includes automation into their project? What will be the life of it? What can you infer from this diagram? Yeah. Can anyone tell me what can you infer from this diagram?
Second person is relaxing. The first one is doing hard work.
Okay. First person is doing hard work. What else, guys?
Manual taking more time. Automation takes less time.
Okay.
Is it like tester needs to be in front of system to run the test, but once we have a scripts, it will be automatically running back and just tester need to monitor.
Okay. Great. More what else, guys? Yeah. Anyone else? Rakshana. Rakshana, could you throw some light on this?
Pretty much the points have been covered.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's just like a person who is you going for only manual, their life will be slightly difficult because he has to document a lot of things, he has to update a lot of Excel sheets, he has to update a lot of stats, he has to update the results, he has to update the screenshots in a Word document because will you accept evidence without any, will you accept that the test case is passed without any evidence? The same thing here. He has to document a lot of evidences and all the stuff. Whereas when you include automation in your life, as the diagram says, life is peaceful. It will execute the test cases, it will give you the results, it will give you the screenshots, it will give you everything. Your job is to just collate and check whether they are working properly or not and give the results to the stakeholders or the end users. Okay. Now, what are the advantages of having automation in your system? Reliability. That means they perform the same set of operations each time they are run, thereby eliminating human error. Repeatability, enabling the capability to test how the software reacts under repeated execution of the same operation. It's just like now you have the same API, payment gateway API, and you are hitting the payment gateway API for 10 times, 100 times, 1000 times. You have to see how the payment gateway API reacts. If the payment gateway API fails after 1000 calls or 2000 calls, that means that's a very serious issue. Okay, that's a very serious issue, and we have to look at it and we have to help it resolve. Reliability means perform. So if I ask you to make a get operation, if I ask you to make a post operation, if I ask you to make a put operation, if I tell my script to perform the API operations in a particular sequence, like perform post, get, put, and delete. So it will perform the same set of operations every time we run it. What do you mean by comprehensiveness? Provides the ability to build a suite of tests that covers every feature in your application. That means what? We are building a set of test cases that covers each and every corner of the application. Each and every corner, I mean each and every place. Clear? Each and every corner, each and every hook, each and every feature of the application we are covering. Feature means each and every endpoint, each and every URL, each and every resource, each and every query parameter that impacts the application, that impacts the database, that impacts the server and all. What do you mean by better quality software? Ability to run more test cases in less time with reduced team size. This is one of the most eye-catching words for any project management. Why we have automation testing into picture. What happens if if we can run more tests in less time with reduced team size? Result of reduced team size realized by productivity gains. That means you will see a reduction in cost. Because first of all, the most of the companies, what they believe is that spending too much cost on testing is a overhead burden. But they don't know that if you're not spending the right budget on the testing, your application will go chaos in the UAT. But still, some of the project managers will feel like, hey, what testing people will do? They just test the application and certify it, right? But if you use this kind of terminologies, like you can run more test cases in less time with reduced team size, which leads to a lot of productivity gains. This is where the project management has got the catch. That is why you see a lot of openings with respect to automation testing, because project management sees like, hey, if you know automation testing and if you can do more manual, I can get it done from a proper quality resource. I will spend some extra money on the quality resource instead of spending money on 2 3 manual testers. I will spend some money on a person who is well versed with manual as well as who is well versed with automation also. I can see for a person who's having multiple skill sets. That is why you see a lot of openings for automation, a lot of openings for manual plus automation, like that. Then you say fast, they run significantly faster than the manual process. The moment you set up the data, the moment you check whether everything is fine, and when you hit on the send button, within that moment only the API will set up the data, fetch the data from external source, hit the endpoints, and it will say everything is working fine or anything is failing. Reusability, that means what? You can rerun the same API testing scripts in different API builds. Like suppose you want to run the test cases in the previous build of the application, we can do it. If you want to run the same test cases in the current release of the API build, you can run it. Scripts remains the same. The script always remains the same, but the only thing that changes is the change in business flow, the change in business functionality, and all those things. Then what's next? Programmability. It we are provides the ability to program sophisticated tests that brings out hidden information from the application. That means what? Whenever we are testing an API, all of a sudden when we do automation testing, we realize that there is a limit. Like in a minute, they will accept these many requests. So with this kind of hidden information, we get it. And we can ask the developer that are you sure this is the SLA for these many number of requests that it needs to validate? Or is there any other thing that we need to worry about it? Got it? So we can get out a lot of hidden information when we do automation testing with API. The hidden information can be that if you are continuously hitting the APIs, there might be a combination that it might send a junk data from the server because it's so tired of performing the API calls, and it might give up one time. So this kind of activities can be checked out. Or we can also see whether the refresh token is generating properly or not. Is it a unique refresh token or not? We can also see all those things. That is the power of automation testing, and that is how it brings out some hidden information from the APIs. I hope this is clear so far, everyone.
Yeah.
I want everyone to actively participate here, guys. I prefer a two-way interaction.
Yep.
And also one more thing that we say about automation testing is wider test coverage. When I say wider test coverage, a large number of complex cases will be automated by automation testing by repeatedly over a period of time. So that what will happen when I say wider test coverage, if there's a scenario that is being covered by automation team, then what is the role of a manual team? They can expand the testing coverage. They can find more and more scenarios, more and more negative scenarios, more and more flows, so that we can always provide a we can always aim for a defect free product. A lot of time will be saved because the regular activities will be done by automation testing, and we will be focusing on finding more bugs, finding more defects, so that automation we can include more scripts in the automation testing. Accuracy, greater precision and lower errors than manual testing. That means we can perform the same operation again and again. So resource optimization. What do you mean by resource optimization? Suppose every build, every week, every day you get new changes in the API, and it is very impossible for a human to sit every night and do the smoke test on all the APIs. That is where automation will come into picture. That is where you have a nightly build into picture, and that is where it will start executing your test cases. Clear?
Yep.
Then effective test management. What do you mean by effective test management? So if we have the same type of API endpoints which we are delivering to the same set of customers, we need not prepare anything from the scratch. We can use the same framework, same source code into another repository, and we can do the same set of testing. Like if you feel that we are testing the API endpoints for a similar project for a different line, we can reuse the same test cases and we can perform the same activities. We obviously the work will be reduced drastically. Clear? So if you can see the time that will be reduced when you include automation testing into your project. So this timelines, whatever we are showing here is based on some general analysis. There is nothing like it is specific to any organization or something like that. And if you see here, the time that is saved when you include automation testing in your project will be a lot. You can save a lot of man hours. You can save a lot of billing here. Clear? Is this clear, guys? Any doubts so far?
Clear.
Yeah, it's fine.
Great. Any doubts so far? Can we go ahead?
Yes, Rahul, you can go ahead.
So, top 5 things that we need to know when we are starting up, when we are starting in our career in automation testing. First rule is don't automate a mess. What do you mean by don't automate a mess? That means what? Since we know some coding and all, don't create don't create a business flows via automation scripting, which is very difficult to understand, with where you are not properly designing the components and all. So don't automate a mess. Second thing, avoid complex logic in your scripts. What do you mean by avoid complex logic? Always write the necessary business use case in your scripting. Don't write some unnecessary logic, or don't make your scripting more complex. Third thing, 100% automation is not possible. When we are discussing about UI automation, for API automation, we can achieve this 100% automation. We can achieve 100% automation with APIs. We can do it, but we need to put some efforts and all. That's fine, but we can do achieve 100% automation. And with respect to APIs, with respect to UI, you cannot achieve 100% automation. And beware of automators who don't understand the basic terminologies of testing. Beware of automation engineers who don't understand the basic terminologies like smoke, regression, waterfall, sprint model, and all this. Clear? So what is 5? Test automation is a software development process, meaning what? It is also like a development project where we have to build the framework, where we need to build everything from scratch, where we need to build the components, where we need to ensure every component is working fine or not. But the sad part is, for our framework, we need to test it ourselves. No one will be there to test the framework. We have to test it ourselves. We have to find the defects. We have to fix everything. Clear? Any doubts so far?
No, Rahul.
Great.
Rahul, one question.
Mm-hmm.
Why we cannot automate like 100%? Like what cases we cannot like?
UI, you cannot do 100%. Can you automate captchas? Can you automate image processing? Can you automate OTPs? Can you
Oh,
automate
okay.
barcode scan? Can you validate the content in the YouTube video? Can you listen to the audio and say that it is working fine? Can you do a check scan?
Okay. So when we encounter like any of the flows, suppose let's say like login flow, from first to last page, like checkout page, we can
Mm,
automate, and when it comes to like that robo check or something, that's something
mm.
we cannot
Yeah,
automate at all, is it?
yeah. Like yes, when you log into the application, sometimes ask for captcha, right? Google captcha.
Yeah.
So you cannot automate that captcha. By chance, if you automate, by chance, if you find some ways to automate, you will be allowed, you should pay a fine to the client, because automating captchas is a legal issue. If you might have not seen any software requirement specification document or a legal document of a software, where I have gone through the legal document of the software. Because if you try to automate captchas, as a company, you're supposed to pay 50 lakhs INR fine to the
Oh,
client, because none of the people I can say easily that none of the people here will not go through the legal documents of the software. In my previous organization, it was a very small organization of 300 people, where I had a direct association with the legal team of the legal team also. So I just had the access to the documents, and I have seen that there are some legalities of the software which only the CEO knows, the project manager knows it. Not even the QA director will also know all these legalities of the project. So when I
Thanks.
automated a captcha in the project, my
Hmm.
legal team was saying that don't automate a captcha. We are gonna pay a 50 lakhs INR fine, and I have to deduct something from your salary because you made a mess out of it.
Yeah, makes sense.
Because captcha is all about ensuring that as a human you're not supposed. I mean, human should not. The bot should not detect it. Only a human should detect it. Got it?
Yeah.
Hmm. Clear? Any doubts so far? All good. So if you see this diagram, what you can understand, the moment you have only manual testing into picture, you will take a lot of man hours to execute. Initially, you feel like manual testing consumes less amount of time, but once you keep on increasing builds, once you keep on increasing the number of builds, the more man hours spent on manual testing will be more. Whereas when you put automation testing in picture, initially it seems like it's a more cost, not cost effective, but over the due course of time, you will say automation testing is a very cost effective approach. Clear? Is this clear? Any doubt so far?
Yes, it's fine.
Great. Great. So this is what is a quick introduction about automation testing, what I wanted to give it to you guys. So any doubt so far?
No.
Any questions you have about automation testing?
No.
Great. So so this whole API testing course will follow as given. First, we will cover the core concepts of Java. Okay. First, we'll be covering the core concepts of Java, where you'll be understanding all the fundamentals of Java, followed by the Postman tool, followed by the API REST Assure, and followed by the Karate framework at the end. Why? Because if you don't have the fundamentals of Java, it is very difficult for you to go with REST Assured API testing or any Karate framework. We all feel that we know all the sometimes we feel that we all know fundamentals of Java sometimes, but even personally, if you ask about me also, there are a lot of fundamentals of Java that we all need to know, and every day, even as a trainer, I also explore a lot about fundamentals of Java, because in JDK 25 is coming in the month of September. That's a long-term stable release. So in JDK 24 also we have a lot of changes, and the same thing is applicable in JDK 25 also. So that can change a lot of things. So let's see, there are a lot of things about core Java that we need to know. If we know the max to max of core Java, we can maximize ourselves in API testing. We can maximize ourselves in any kind of, even Postman also requires programming language to script the test cases there. So that is the reason Java is very, very much important. With the help of this knowledge of Java, you can also start designing API testing frameworks by yourself. Okay. So for any API testing, rest assured, or any Karate, or if you use, or if you go with Postman also, the programming language plays a major role. 80% is the programming language. So what are the core Java topics we are covering? The variable declarations, string functions, string builder, string buffer, the conditional statements, the looping statements, the constructors, method declarations, switch statements, enum statements. So these are the core fundamentals of Java that we are covering as the first step, that is the variable declaration strings. Strings are like bread and butter for all of us. The conditional statements, the looping statements, constructors, method declaration. Switch has evolved a lot in Java. Switch has evolved a lot in Java, and especially with enums also. So we'll have to see all the new changes that have occurred in core Java. The next thing is arrays. What do we cover in arrays? 1D array, 2D array, 3D array, list. We'll be covering array list, vector, stack, linked list, hash set, linked hash set, tree map, hash map, sequence collections is the latest feature in JDK 21, DQ, queues, and more. So these are the things that we cover with arrays and collections. Clear?
So Rahul, like all these concepts, in some way, it will be used in automation.
Yes, without automation requires all these things. You never know when it will come. Again, I'm telling you, you will never know when it will come. You need to be ready with it.
So for every concept, do you provide some exercises?
Yes,
Because we need some practice. We forget after an hour of time.
yes, the practice will be there. The questions will be shared to you. The assignments will be given to you. It's your job to practice it. Okay.
For every topic.
For
After that,
every topic of core Java, we'll be giving you the assignments for you to practice. And you have to, if you're not practicing it, what you said just now, that you will forget the concepts, that will only happen.
yeah, Rahul, thanks. But I have seen like a couple of coaching centers, like after finishing all the concepts, they will be giving some assignments.
No. If you want, I will show you a proof after I finish the core Java. I will give you a demonstration what is happening in my current running batch, how I give the assignments. So topic wise, I'll share you one Excel sheet screenshot so that you'll understand.
Yeah. So during the interviews, what I have seen personally is only they will be not asked. It's like 30% of API automation and 70% of core Java.
Exactly, Satish. I have all the interview questions where you can do it. For our classes of core Java, let me finish the core Java concept, then I'll explain you how we are driving the show. Got it?
Yeah. Okay.
Rahul, one thing, you will go through the Java 8 streams, Lambda function, all these concepts,
I'm
right?
going through all the Java 24 concepts also, not only Java 8.
Okay. Okay, and these you will use during our REST Assured API automation.
Yes,
You will use
you will
these
see.
advanced concepts also, right?
Yeah, not
Streams,
only in
Lambda,
REST
and all.
Assured, not only in REST Assured, even if you want to design a framework also, you need all this.
Okay. No, especially for Java, streams, Lambda function, all these
Yeah,
things,
we cover
the
everything.
newer
Streams,
concepts.
lambdas. See, don't restrict your Java concepts only for REST Assured testing. Expand the scope in such a way that you need to design a framework. Always
Yes,
remember,
yes.
Nandesh, we are not here to learn only REST Assured. We are here to learn the required ingredients for us to design our framework by myself. That is the whole point training, especially you have 6+ years of experience. If you go for a startup company or a product based company, they'll ask you to design right from day one. They'll not even give you single time. They'll not even wait for you to stabilize, because I come from a background of product based companies. I don't come from a MNC background. I come from a product based companies where every week I have to show innovation. Every week I have to
Yes,
show
Rahul.
some new design changes.
Okay, Rahul, sure. Thank you.
Then what's next? The inheritance concepts. What is the basics of inheritance? Super keyword. What is the purpose of interface? What are the different types of interface, like functional interface, marker interface, and all? So what is the purpose of super keyword in constructors and in inheritance? What are the different types of inheritance? Simple inheritance, multi-level inheritance, multiple inheritance. Yeah. Then we cover lambda, streams, Lombok expressions. I'm telling it openly that we'll be covering lambda streams and Lombok expressions in detail. Lombok expressions is one of the most important annotations. Like if you know Spring annotations, someone of having some Java development experience, there are around 5,000 Spring annotations. Like that in Lombok, we have around 1,000 annotations in Lombok. If we start using Lombok, you will ensure how much boilerplate code, how much redundant code we can reduce it. You will see me using this in framework design. Then we discuss a lot of file operations. How do we write the data to the file, reading the data from the file, copying a file from one location to another location, the different file functions, right? then exception handling, try catch block, purpose of finally block, multiple catch blocks with one try block, checked versus unchecked exceptions. How do we handle the errors at the runtime? How do we create your own custom exception classes? What is ducking an exception? What is rethrowing an exception? What is dethroning an exception? So we'll be discussing all these points because these days in the interview, when they ask about exception handling, I request you to put your mics in mute. Thank you. So in these days in the interview, they're not asking what is exception handling. They'll be asking you what do you mean by ducking an exception? We all have used the concept, but we don't know the terminology. That's it. What do you mean by dethroning an exception? What do you mean by rethrowing an exception? What do you mean by creating your own custom exception class? All these concepts will be covered as part of exception handling.
So Rahul, do you have the self-prepared notes for this?
We don't prepare any self-prepared notes. Whatever coding concepts we teach live in front of you in the class, we'll be providing the notes there along with the comments. So those comments will serve as the notes because there will be a lot of changes. And for any programming language, I believe that having fixed notes is something that is not a very good practice. If you keep on practicing with the programs only, that is when you can understand the concepts more clearly. So based on the programming practice that I did personally only, from there on, I'm deriving the concepts for you. I don't prepare any self notes. Whatever notes I make it in front of you in the class, in that particular code file with the appropriate comments, with the appropriate notes there only.
Okay.
Because I don't believe in sharing the pre-notes. Because
PPT will be shared.
sorry?
PPT will be shared.
PPT cannot be shared.
PPT will be shared to all of us.
All the same PPT is already there in the website. You can have a look at it. There's whatever the contents we are giving in the website, the same thing only we are using it here.
Sorry, Rahul, your voice is low. It's only with me or like with everyone on the board?
I guess others, can you respond? Is my voice audible?
Yes, we are good.
Okay.
And it's from your end, Satish.
Very good. Yeah.
Then we also cover some generics because when we go with API testing, generics is becoming a mandatory now. If you don't know the knowledge of generics, then you will be writing a lot of boilerplate code. Then we'll use a lot of concepts related to optionals, records, sealed inheritance, sealed interfaces. Sealed inheritance and sealed interfaces is a new version of inheritance where we restrict which classes to have inheritance. So this is another whole new concept that is part of JDK 17. Records concepts ensures us the classes are immutable in nature. So you'll understand all these things in detail. So we'll be as promised, we'll be providing with more than 250 plus programming questions for you to practice. So just give me a moment. Let me open the Excel sheet for you and show you how we give the questions. I hope everyone is able to see the Excel sheet here. So this is the Excel sheet that we provide to all the students for all the batches. This is the Excel sheet that is happening for the previous batch, where we'll be saying on which day which topic we have discussed. And here, if you see the Google sheet, you will be having the list of assignments that you need to practice. And this assignments will keep on upgrading. Like for suppose if it's a variable questions, once the variable topic is completed, this assignments will be unlocked for you in the Excel sheet and you have to keep on solving it. And again, these questions are something that is not fixated. They will keep on increasing in this document. For the people who ask me what kind of assignment questions you will get it. So this is how we provide assignment questions for each and every class, each and every topic. And we will also provide some visual diagrams, like we discussed some visual diagrams in the class. So all those visual diagrams and all will be created here. This is the Excel sheet I'm sharing, which is happening right now. It's not about some previous batch or something. Right before your batch. I hope I've answered your question when I say I'm giving you a lot of questions. And here also we are providing some interview questions and some Java programming questions. Clear?
Yeah, Rahul. So this course is designed for 1 month, Rahul?
Well, it's 2 months because I have to cover API testing also, right?
Okay.
Because core Java only takes me around 20 days, because the competition for core Java is huge now. It is gone other days where they ask you to write a program to reverse a string. Now they'll ask you like reverse the program for odd characters in the string. You got the point? I have to take the odd characters and reverse the program for all the odd characters.
Okay.
Now the new concept that they ask you is rotate an array by 3 times. So if you write a regular for loop, fine. Can you optimize it? Yes. There's a concept called as reversal algorithm again. Reversal algorithm is one of the famous algorithms in Java which can help you for easy rotation. Within 2 steps you can rotate the array. So now also in combination with this, every alternate Saturday we have a specific DSA sessions where we cover all the sorting algorithms, search algorithms, where we'll be discussing some programming questions that we happen to encounter in the interview. Of course, I'll be discussing some interview questions here, but those sessions are dedicated for only coding concepts like the sorting algorithms, greedy algorithms, and all the stuff will be discussed, and also some programming questions which they ask in the interview. Every alternate Saturday we'll have a DSA session. Clear?
What is that? DS?
DSA stands for data structures and algorithms for tester.
Oh, okay.
So where we covered already 3 sessions where we have covered linear search, binary search, we have covered bubble sort and selection sort. So every alternate Saturday we will have a session that is public for everyone and anyone can join. That is not a problem. So those are the sessions that we provide here to support the testing community, because I know as a tester how we face a lot of challenges to answer the coding questions. So if we cover some sort of algorithm, some sort of coding questions, it'll be beneficial for you again. And we also cover some design patterns. Even in the page object model also we have a lot of design patterns. Unknowingly we don't know, we use it. So we'll also cover some design patterns there. There's another pattern called as page component pattern. That's a extended version of page object model. Like if you are from Selenium background, I'm just telling you. Clear? So some lead code questions will be practiced and will be discussed there. Of course, I'll be sharing, I've shared all the questions here, but there I'll be discussing the solutions, because our most of the time will be spent on some programming questions, on some more on the conceptual part. Clear? Is this clear?
Yes,
Everyone?
Rahul. Yeah, Rahul.
Yes, sir.
Rahul, do you expect like we need to know like complete Postman APIs or something before attending this class or?
No. You don't need to know anything. This
Okay.
core, you can come with a blank mindset. I will take care of everything.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Okay. Don't worry about anything. If you don't know anything also, you're fine. You're in the right place. I'll take care of everything from scratch. Your role is to practice every day, come up with more questions.
Yeah.
Then Git is very important. Without Git, you will not even recognize that you're a software tester also. The GitHub profile and all. So what is Git? What is purpose of Git? What is the difference between Git and GitHub? The flow chart of Git, the different tools that support Git apart from GitHub. What are the different Git commands that we are gonna see? Because Git commands is a huge library. So we'll be covering only the important Git commands that we use in day-to-day life. And how do we perform the same Git actions via IntelliJ, right? Then we'll also be discussing some SQL concepts like how SSMS, SQL Server, Oracle DB installation. You can also see all these things. And we'll be covering the different CRUD operations for the database: create, read, update, delete. Got it? Then what are the different SQL commands? Like DDL stands for data definition language, DML stands for data manipulation language, DCL stands for data control language, DQL stands for data query language. Clear?
But for API automation, do we need this, Rahul?
So when you hit an API endpoint, you should always check whether the data is stored in the database or not.
Yeah, that we just verify the database, but
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
So do you think the data will come in one go? No way. Even if someone says, don't believe it, because the data doesn't come in one single stretch. The primary key will be present in one table. With respect to primary key, I have to use the primary key as a foreign key in another table. I have to use joins. Then only you'll get the data. Now these days developers are giving you the query, but now we have to be smart. They'll be giving you the DB schema, DB tables, and where it is falling and all. You have to form a query by yourself, because in my previous company and in my current company, they will give you the DB schema. You have to form your queries by yourself. They will tell you, okay, so and so table, that value will fall in so and so table. They'll say give you the impacted list of tables. You have to form a query by yourself. Even in the interviews, if you're going for some SDET roles in product-based companies, they will ask you, find the second highest record in the find the second highest salary, or find the second highest number of employees in this company for a particular department. See, the gone are the days where our life is only stuck to API testing and all. They are asking left and right, guys. They're asking left and right. Clear? Then we'll also be discussing Jenkins with API testing, rest assured testing, Jenkins with Postman, and Jenkins with rest assured, and Jenkins with Karate. All the three things will be covered. Tools required to work with CI/CD, platform building pipeline. So what is CI? CI is continuous integration. That means developers frequently integrate their code into the shared repository, and automated test cases run on each integration to ensure code quality and catch issues early. That means what? Now a developer A and developer B will be present. Now they both have to frequently integrate their code. How do they integrate their code? So they will do some unit testing to ensure that whatever code they have integrated is working properly. Or if it is not working properly, it will return a failure, and we have to ensure that the code is fixed. So this CI promotes collaborative and quality focused development environment. That means what? Once we find the issues early, so there is a system in place, continuous integration. So we focus more on the quality of the code, and it promotes collaboration among the team. What is CD? Continuous deployment. So once the code is integrated properly and all the test cases are passed, we deploy the code. That means it automates the release process, ensures that the code changes are deployed to production QA UAT platform automatically for all the test cases are passed. So reduces the time from code commit to code deployment, enhancing agility. Clear? So when I say automate the release process, whatever the moment you commit the code is the moment it starts deploying the code. The moment you commit the code, there'll be a GitHub action in the real time, where from the development side, they'll have a GitHub action where they ensure that merge the code into the main branch only when this set of test cases are passed. If they are passed, then deploy the changes into the master branch, and every night, whatever commits are made in that night, deploy the build to the QA environment automatically. And after the deployment is completed, that is where we as automation engineers will come into picture and execute our test cases to ensure whether they are working properly or not. Clear? Is this clear, guys? Any doubts?
Yeah, Rahul.
So we'll also, if time permits, we'll also cover MongoDB. So what are the list of tools that we use? Jenkins, Apache Maven, JDK 11, don't use it, guys. Starts from JDK 17 or 21. Docker also will be covering. AWS, I'll have to just check some things whether we can, how do we use AWS, because it's somewhat chargeable. So if it's a minimum charge, I'll just let you know, guys, because I'm just comparing the cost of EC2 and Lambda, and I'll let you know. Clear?
Where is this AWS and Docker will be useful?
When if you have a Postman script, if you have a
Okay.
rest assure script, if you have a karate script, if you have to run this Postman script or a rest assure script or karate script on a nightly basis, that is where Docker image will come into picture. That is where Jenkins will come into picture. AWS is like Jenkins, generally we host it on a local platform, but when you host it on an AWS server, so anyone can open that link and see the execution of the build, check the status and all. So Docker is more of a concise way of executing your code. You need not have any tools in your system. The Docker will take care of it automatically by yourself. So when I discuss about containerization, virtualization, you will understand everything there.
Yeah.
So again, the thing here, why we go with Docker, why we are discussing so many concepts, sometimes you might feel like, why do we need AWS, Docker and all? Because Now we are running in the era of containerization. Even as a tester, even as a when you deploy the builds also, you will be getting a lot of Docker images deployed hosted on the OS. Now tomorrow if someone asks you, can you generate a Docker image of it so that I can run a CI/CD build? So how do they do it? Your manager will generate an image of it in the hub, and this hub will be taken by the dev team and they will deploy the image. Okay, you will understand everything, don't worry. Because I want you to all go for an SDET. See, for me, any geographical region, wherever the students attend here, for all geographical regions, this is applicable because I've seen throughout my journey, I've seen a lot what kind of questions that we can be asked, how they can be tackled. Because in Australia and New Zealand, the way they ask the questions is more analytical. If you go for a US or somewhere like that, they more ask like a logical. In India, they mix analytical and logical both.
Yeah.
And in Europe, they more look at you like how can you research the data. If you go for a Europe region, like especially Swedish, Poland or something like that, how well you research and how well you formulate your data. It's not about logical, it's not about analytical. It's all about research oriented. How can you save time? How can you enhance things? It's all about like upgrading, researching. That kind of a mentality in Europe. Clear?
Yeah. Just another question. So the tools that we use is usually open source or that?
Everything is open source except AWS. I will have to check the cost because EC2 is something that is a reasonable cost and Lambda is something that is very expensive. So I'll have to check the cost. If it is costing around 100 rupees or 200 rupees per session, I guess that should not be a problem for most of you, right?
Yeah.
Any doubts so far? First, we are covering core Java, followed by the Git concepts and some DB concepts because DB is very, very much essential. Because whenever you're designing an API testing framework, you need to store your execution results in a database. Once you store the execution results in your database, then only you can showcase your results to the manager or your stakeholders. Because these days, stakeholders also actively participating in the automation testing, and they'll ask you to share the results, share the reports and all these things. They'll ask you in the previous release these many failures, in the current release these many failures. What is your statement on this? Without a database, it is very difficult case. Clear? Then what is API testing? So API testing is something that is helping us connected across the globe. Without any APIs, we wouldn't have been connected like this. API testing, this is powering the connected world. So let's get started with the API testing. What's the first thing that we cover in API testing? Introduction. What is API testing? What is the client server architecture? Why do we need API testing? What is offline versus online APIs? What are the different types of APIs? What are the different types of API testing techniques? What are the types of web services? HTTP methods and its purpose. What are the different status codes that we have? So what is Postman tool and why? How do we install Postman tool? We will be giving you a walkthrough of the Postman tool. Postman workspace, Postman collections, Postman monitors, performing API requests for different HTTP methods, importing collections from Swagger or from external JSON files. What are the Postman variables? Local variable, global variable, environment variable, data variables, collection variables. We'll be seeing all these things. Advanced Postman tool, the curl commands, the base some JavaScript concepts I'll be teaching you, like what is variable, what is this object, what is an array, and all. I'll be discussing JavaScript fundamentals. Don't worry. Scripting test cases using pre and post script tab, parsing JSON and XML data, chai.js assertions, running the Postman collections manually, and also using Postman CLI, Newman library, generating different kinds of reports, JSON schema validator, request chaining, how we do data-driven testing using Postman, how do we integrate the Postman collections with Jenkins and Docker. Got it? Is this clear, guys?
Yeah, Rahul.
How about others?
Yes, Rahul.
Yep, clear.
Yeah, Rahul. That's good.
So are we covering like how to do the API testing in the different browsers?
Why we see API testing? Why do we need to do in different browsers? The correct question is we have to inspect the APIs using the network tab. That part I'll teach you how to inspect the APIs in the network tab. That is not called API testing in browsers. Okay.
So when we say like the page is taking time to load, like in a Chrome or
Yeah.
a different browser,
So
so
that is related to, you have to go to the network tab and inspect, and you have to tell them. So that doesn't come under this API testing. That comes under Chrome DevTools concept. So in API testing, we have to go to the network tab and see how much time the API is taking. When we go to the network tab, we have to extract the APIs using the curl command, and you have to import it in your scripting and do the API testing for that API endpoint. That is what we say. API testing and API in the browser is, that's not a right statement. Okay. We go through the network tab, we see how much response time is taken for the API. Those are the things that we have to look at it. And there are some APIs which are used in the backend. They don't come in the browser again. They are internal to the application. Not all the APIs are exposed into the network tab. Remember that, Aarti.
okay.
All the APIs won't show in network tab. Internally, there are a lot of API calls that will not be exposed to the outside world.
But can we test it or?
You see, APIs are not supposed to be tested on a browser. APIs is what? APIs is all about testing your business logic of the application. Got it?
Okay.
Yeah, but sometimes we use Swagger in the browser, right?
That is, Swagger is a API documentation, yeah. That
Yeah.
is nothing more than that. That is, a Swagger is a API documentation. Don't consider that as a browser. It's a API documentation where it will tell you, this is my endpoint URL. This is a expected payload I'm putting. That's it. It's a more than a nothing more than documentation.
Yeah.
And nowadays, Postman documentation is something that is more popular than Swagger. Only for legacy applications only we use Swagger. Then we go for rest assured. What are this rest assured? What is
Rahul, sorry to interrupt. Rahul, what type of APIs are we covered? Services, REST, GraphQL, SOAP, or only REST you will call?
REST and GraphQL? SOAP I'll see one endpoint, but SOAP is something very rarely used.
Okay.
Less than 5% of the companies are using SOAP. I can give you an example of SOAP that still works in REST. That still works in REST because REST provides some support for SOAP also.
Okay, because I'm working in some MNC now, all our legacy applications only almost all built in SOAP web services.
Well, there are some SOAP APIs, Nandesh. I will just show you how to use the SOAP and how do you parse the same data in the Postman, because Postman supports everything, GraphQL, SOAP, and REST. And when you're doing automation testing, you have to go with HTTP client, or the REST assured also provides some facilities for SOAP. You can use that also.
Okay, Rahul, thank you.
So what is rest assured? What is BDD versus non-BDD approach? What are the different, how do we perform operations using rest assured for different HTTP methods? How do we pass the request payload using POJO, using JSON payload? I mean, actual JSON payload in the form of a string, external file. How do we serialize and deserialize the data using POJO, Hamcrest validations, request and response logging and filters, multi-part request? That means how do we upload the files to the API? Then spec builders, query parameters, form parameters, path parameters. How do we parse JSON and XML data? Jackson libraries, JV expressions, data-driven testing using CSV, Excel, JSON, different types of authentication, JV expressions. We'll be covering OR2 in this batch. And basic bearer digest is simple that we can do it. We'll be covering OR2 in this class. Okay. OR2 is something we are discussing for a public application. Again, it changes for different companies, because if you are working in MNC, you have to go through the OR2 documentation of how to generate it. Similarly, if you are working in any product based companies, you have to see how do we generate the OR2. It differs from company to company. Again, what I'm giving is the generalized one, but again, when you work in companies, the concept changes. How to generate the OR2 might change again. Got it?
Yeah, Rahul.
So are we having the mock API here?
Mock APIs we do have. I've not mentioned it, but we have mock APIs for Postman, and we can use wire mock for rest assured. But a mock API testing is something that is sometimes very like not at your level, but at a director level or at some level they'll be used, because mock APIs is something which is not much used, because as testers we'll be giving the API. See, any development cycle you go, UI may or may not be ready, but your APIs will be always ready. Got it? I can teach you mocking, but use it when required. Got it? Got it, everyone?
Yeah.
Any doubts?
Nothing, Rahul, as of now.
Mm.
So Rahul, one last question is like, do we have automation using Postman also in this course?
Yeah, that is what I told right just now.
Okay. No, I thought only rest assured.
Postman also we can do automation, but not at a full length, like what Rest Assured offers. Whatever within the limitations of the tool, we can do it.
Okay.
Within the limitations of the tool, we can do it, because Postman is again a standalone tool. You cannot integrate with database, you cannot integrate with any external file system, and you can do it. We cannot do all such things. Okay.
Okay.
If your number of API test cases for your particular project is less than 50, go for Postman. If it is greater than 50, go for Rest Assured.
And we are not dealing any performance here.
No performance, it's purely functional.
And I'm going to say performance of API, like how much time is going to take.
No. We validate how much response time it should take. Like as per the SLA documentation, how much response time we need to have it. Only that thing I can do. But is it generating the performance metrics will be there, like the thread count, the threshold, the throughput, all these things I'm not doing. Okay.
Okay.
Only the response time validation is something I can do.
Okay.
Then the karate, that's the popular buzzing word. And what is karate? What is the difference between karate versus Rest Assured? How do we perform different HTTP methods, preparing the feature files, data-driven testing, path parameters, query parameters, response validations, fuzzy matches, reading data from external files, karate config.js file. These are the topics that we will be covering as part of the karate framework. Got it?
Rahul, this is Karate will use for building the framework. Rest Assured is the library, and for the framework development, we are using Karate.
No. With Rest Assured also you can build a framework. But with karate, it's just like the people say it's a zero coding library for automation testing. So if you see in the ranks of API testing, the first rank goes for Rest Assured, and the second rank goes for karate, and the third rank goes for this Python request module, and fourth rank goes for Rest C Sharp. So like that. So Rest Assured is the ultimate tool for API automation testing. But if some companies are like, okay, can you show me some zero coding API testing tool? So Karate will come into picture. So we have to use the keywords what Karate team has given to us, and we have to follow it.
Okay, in the course, you will use to Rest Assured itself to build the complete framework, right?
Framework.
For
Yes,
all the APIs.
Karate.
Along with
Karate
that,
will just give you the glimpse of how do you integrate, how do you visualize yourself as a framework design, because there's nothing much I can do with the framework, because everything is built in for karate. I just need to know the right keyword and the right syntax. That's it.
okay,
The main
and
framework. Yeah, go ahead, sorry.
and in Rest Assured, you will use normal this one, or in a BDD style, you will create the framework.
I give you BDD and non-BDD style. Which one you want, you use it. Like during the course, when I explain BDD and non-BDD style, we'll take a vote. Based on that, we will design the framework accordingly. Okay, but 99% of the people will say BDD style only.
Okay, Rahul. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Then along with it, we'll also cover some TestNG concepts, because in order to build a Rest Assured framework, we'll be covering some TestNG concepts. So we will be covering what are the different TestNG annotation, TestNG attributes, and the data provider I have to discuss it, because as I promised, I'll have to data-driven testing, right? So for that, I need TestNG, data provider, and all those things. So we'll be covering all those things. Clear? Is this clear, guys? Any doubts?
Yeah, Rahul.
How about others?
Yeah, looks good.
So that's good. Fine. So these are the contents that we are covering. And again, we'll be covering TestNG also, which I have not mentioned it here, but I'll be covering TestNG too as part of the course. Because if you don't know TestNG, it will be very difficult for you to design stuff. So I'll also design a TestNG framework. Always remember, if for any API testing, the best practice is to go for TestNG. Of course, Karate supports BDD concepts, that is fine. But if you want to go for a rest assured testing framework, we go for TestNG, because BDD, this Cucumber feature file, you can have this feature file when the end user is when the BA is giving you the step definitions. But generally, BAs won't provide step definitions for the API endpoints, because API is something very technical. That is more of a business related thing. Got the point? Whenever someone asks you to design rest assured framework with TestNG, BDD, suggest them that TestNG is the right approach, because this is not something we are exposing it to the stakeholders. If your criteria is we are exposing it to the stakeholders, then that is the right approach. But if you are not exposing this API endpoint testing details to any stakeholder, is something internal to the project, then going with TestNG is always the right approach. And I believe 99% of the companies will do API testing internally only. They'll not share the results to the outside person also. It will be within the organization only. Only the results will be shared. But when you are doing UI testing, yes, this BDD framework is something that is very much essential. Clear? I hope this is clear, everyone.
Yes,
Yeah,
Rahul.
Rahul.
Any doubts so far?
For Java, what platform will be using? IntelliJ or Eclipse?
I prefer to use IntelliJ, okay, but we can use VS Code, Eclipse, anything can be used. When you're using VS Code, you have to do everything by yourself. There's no predefined setup for VS Code. You have to do everything by yourself.
What
But
is being used in the market these days? I mean, mostly.
if you are going for JDK 21 or something, you have to go with IntelliJ. If you are going below JDK 21, you can use Eclipse. It all depends. And the sad part is some companies are still using Java 8. Fair warning, guys, that if you are using JDK 8, this course is not meant for you. Because rest assured supports from JDK 11. Now JDK 11 this year it will, Java team has told that this year onwards we are not even supporting JDK 11. If you are using JDK 17 onwards only, the rest assured concepts what we are discussing will work. If your company uses JDK 8, rest assured is not a possibility also. Clear?
Yeah.
You need to start using from JDK 17 onwards. I'll be using IntelliJ in the course. I'm comfortable with 3 editors. That is not a problem. But if I want to if I want to reuse the latest features of Java, IntelliJ is the right editor, because IntelliJ is the prime sponsor for Java now. For Oracle team, the IntelliJ is the prime sponsor. They're also contributing to the development of Java and spreading it across the globe. That is the reason I'm using IntelliJ. Whatever features of Java that you have, they're first sent to IntelliJ only.
Okay.
And IntelliJ has a lot of external plugins, lot of development community where they develop plugins on a regular basis. I
Okay.
don't
Got it.
deny the fact that Eclipse is also a amazing tool, but once you start using IntelliJ, you'll understand it better.
Okay. Got it.
Clear?
Can you just tell us the number of hours that we'll be spending on the karate framework and yeah,
Karate.
and the
So,
test engine part?
well, along with rest assurance, see, after Java, we cover the database. After database, we cover the TestNG concepts, then followed by Postman, rest assured. So there's a pattern we follow. So overall, we'll take 2 months to finish all these things. Like first 20 days, it will take around core Java. See, if you ask me number of days, whoever asked me, it'll be sometimes difficult to say, because sometimes it will be, sometimes the topics might be completed in one session. Sometimes it might take 2 sessions. That is the reason. But for core Java, we'll finish it in 20 days. Express
Okay.
your weekends. So make a note
So
that 2 months
my
of
question was actually the thing is, will be covered, the karate framework will
at
be
the end.
covered
No,
properly
karate properly means what do you expect like properly? Not only showing the
from end to
keyboard.
end. Like there won't be any like things which will be skipping because of time lag.
See, in our course, in the history of whatever I've teach over the post 4 or 5 years, I stretch the time, but I'll never skip the topics. You can ask the institute people, or you can, if you know someone who has taken training from me, I never skip the topics. Whatever I have told, I will finish it. Even though it takes some extra time also, I don't mind. I'll finish all the topics which I've promised.
Okay.
And if you face some business scenarios, if you are facing some issues in your company, that this when I'm doing this kind of API, I'm unable to do it because of some issues, you can also discuss those API endpoints, and we will help you clarify all those also during the due course of time. And on post course also, if you have any doubts, my number is there in the group description. You can always message me.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. We don't skip because of any time duration. We give you a time of 2 months, but if somehow exceeds it, let it exceed. That's it. Ultimately, what we want is the content to be delivered. If we keep on skipping the topics, there's no point. We are not in a running race. We are here to teach you properly.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Yep. Anyone else? Any doubts so far?
Yeah, so like you mentioned for a BDD, like Cucumber, you are going to do with the test ng. Is it like JUnit is not good?
Cucumber with TestNG is the right platform because JUnit, if you see, JUnit is a basic testing platform. Because of the deficiencies of TestNG JUnit, only TestNG has come into picture. So if you're using Cucumber with TestNG only, that is the best practice because it has an inbuilt data provider consoles which we can use it in the real time. 95% of the companies who are using BDD, they are using JUnit. But that is a very bad idea. You can use it with TestNG. When you use with TestNG, you will have the ultimate luxury to play around with your test cases.
Okay.
So my framework, which I built for Cucumber, it has been scaled up to 7,000 test cases, and it is running successfully in any CI/CD model. And of course, it is able to detect the failures, and it is sharing the list of failures to all the stakeholders via mail. And we have created a live dashboard. That means I have created the dashboard using the Spring Boot as a backend and using Angular with some CSS components as the front end. So I built all this. So I know the scalability challenges. I've encountered a lot of issues with the stakeholders, with the company directors. I have faced all the challenges. So my experience of facing all those challenges will also be demonstrated here.
Rahul, will you explain that how to create that live dashboard as well, Rahul?
No. That is a different thing. Why, if I start teaching that, I have to teach you Spring Boot. I have to teach you what is dependency injection and all the stuff. There's a design pattern I follow. Then I have to teach you what is that, what do you call, Angular. This is not a development course. This is a API testing course, please.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
not all companies will accept, trust me. If you are working in MNC, forget about dashboard. You will not even create one brick of dashboard. If you are working in product based companies which are enthusiastic, like if you work with Google or Amazon, or if you work with a product based companies which are having less strength, like less than 1,000 people, like I worked in a product based company which is having strength is less than 1,000, but those 1,000 people are equivalent to 1 lakh people. We used to do so many tasks at a time.
Got it. Yeah.
So there the requirements were massive and we couldn't get developer support easily to design something for us. So we had to learn, we have to do it all these things. Clear?
Yes, Rahul.
So anything else regarding the course, regarding anything?
So Rahul, maybe this might
Is
be a basic question. So from today onwards, we are having this session for next 2 months at the same time, right?
Yes.
So 8 to 9.
8 to 9, Monday to Friday.
Cool. Thank you.
Rahul Sushma here. Just one question. So regarding the practice one, so when you give the assignments, just from your experience, like from the previous batches, roughly like every day or after the class, how much time would it take an average? Just
1 or 2 hours you have to spend daily, Sushma, because you will have to go through the recording again. because you will make a notes of it in the class, but again you'll have to go through a recording, right? So when you go through the recordings, listen it at 1.58 to 2x speed, because you've already attended the session. You're just revising the topic, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Attend it at 1.5 to 2x speed. So if it's a 1 hour session, you listen it in 45 to 30 minutes. Post that, you have to sit and solve the assignments for that day. And if you face any challenge, let me know. Or if you have every right to ask me, Rahul, in this topic I need more questions, can you provide more questions? You have every right to ask that. We'll be providing with more questions. Got it?
Yeah.
So the beauty of this course is, even if I give you assignment and if you have solved it and if you want more questions, we are here to give you more questions. Always remember that. This is applicable for everyone who is enrolling with us. And also we'll be giving you some breakout sessions. Forgot to tell you that we also have breakout sessions. That means in the middle of the course, I'll be giving you a small assignment in the class where you need to solve that assignment, and you have to solve it right in that 1 hour as a group. Got it?
Yes, Rahul.
You have to solve it as a team. And when you go for an interview, the first step, foremost step is not how you did API testing. The first step is programming questions and what are your test? How did you start testing API? It will be more on your profiling, more on your questioning.
Just another question. Just like maybe it's very
No
early to
worries.
ask.
See, no worries. Go
Just
ahead.
trying to understand. So the tools now we are going to learn, or the framework we are going to learn,
Hmm.
is this the best one compared to other, or it has its own advantages and disadvantages compared
Like,
to other tools?
like,
That's what I said. Like it's very early. I'm not sure if there is any other. Like I know, like
yeah.
Selenium.
Can you rephrase your question?
Is there any other tools available that we can do same kind of API automation, but
Uh,
we are going with this specific
uh,
framework or the
yeah.
tools? Those are the best one.
Yes, your question is right. The answer to it is yes. There are a lot of frameworks, lot of things and all, but rest
Mm.
assured stands out of amongst all because it is flexible, integrable. We can integrate with TestNG, BDD Cucumber easily
Okay.
compared to the inbuilt API tests that present in Playwright also. Even in Playwright also, if you want to convert a response into a JSON format, you need to use a Jackson builder. Whereas with Rest Assured, I don't need to do anything. Internally, directly, I will get my body in the form of a JSON. If time permits, I'll show you. I'll take one session on how the Playwright API testing works because that follows GraphQL concept there.
Okay. Yeah.
So we'll be covering GraphQL also. We'll be spending 2 to 3 sessions on GraphQL. 2 to 3 sessions on GraphQL, why GraphQL, how it is useful, what are the use case. So GraphQL is something like these days people are saying GraphQL is like amazing to API tool or something like that. I will be giving you a live visual analysis of where to use GraphQL, where to use Rest Assured, where to use.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Anyone has any doubts?
So GraphQL is like a tool to test the API, like we
No,
have
no, no,
REST
no.
node
Like
or
how
Post.
REST is the service, GraphQL is also a service.
Okay, it's like a API.
Yeah. These APIs are used in Swiggy, WhatsApp, Instagram, Zomato,
So
and
this GraphQL we can test on with Postman. We can test
yes,
with
yes,
Postman.
GraphQL supports Postman.
Uh-huh. Okay, okay.
It is developed by Meta. This GraphQL service is developed by Meta. So if you see WhatsApp, if you see Facebook, if you see Instagram, if you see Zomato, if you see Swiggy, if you see Book My Show, if you see Instagram, everyone uses GraphQL. Clear? Now, if everyone is clear, can we call it for the day? And the next session details will be updated to you in the group.
Yep.
Rahul,
Thanks,
thank you.
Rahul.
Yeah, next session details, everything will be updated in the group. So just keep a watch on the group.
Thanks, Ragul, for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Great session.
Yes, Lennon.